Yeah, she's coming off back-to-back 26-point efforts, which is a season high for the Division I commit headed to Illinois State. And it's kind of an old-school post presence. She's got power. She likes to bang down low. A very Giannis Antetokounmpo-like heat map. She's going to get her points right around the basket and power through it.
And the girl in charge of stopping her tonight is Michaela Thomas, who has been on a hot offensive streak of her own the last 3 games.
Yeah, playing really well, leading the team in scoring coming in. And when I was chatting with Randy Etherton, the head coach of SLP, before the game, he really praised Michaela Thomas's effort defensively. A long, athletic junior who's going to be a big part of stopping and, well, maybe putting somewhat of a stop to McGowan, a great player on the other end.
Should be a fun one coming up next. We'll see how it plays out. Coming up on North Metro TV.
North Metro TV News is your source for local stories. Highlighting the issues in your community, we bring you the news that's closer to home. Join us as we explore the stories all around us, every day at 2:30, 6:30, and 10:30.
Three and 4 teams in the NWSC do battle as the Spring Lake Park Panthers play host the Robbinsdale Armstrong Falcons. Welcome inside Spring Lake Park High School, where tonight a pair of 3 and 4 teams in the NWSC do battle as the Spring Lake Park Panthers play host the Robbinsdale Armstrong Falcons. Good evening, everyone. I'm Bill Hupp, alongside our broadcast partner, Matt Dean, tonight. And Matt, should be an interesting battle for two teams that find themselves right next to each other in the conference standings.
Yeah, just a win apart, but identical 3 and 4 conference records for these two teams coming in tied for third in their half of the Northwest Suburban Conference. And Armstrong trying to kind of refine their form as they come in a little bit of a slump. And Spring Lake Park, in the meantime, ran into a really hot Champlin Park team, but otherwise, even with a short-handed lineup, have been playing pretty well as of late. So looking forward to it tonight.
And the Panthers will have to stop the big gun for Robbinsdale Armstrong tonight in the form of Savannah McGowan, the 6'2 senior bound for Illinois State, is averaging a double-double, averaged one last year as well. And as you saw last night, Matt, against Shakopee, she is really tough to handle inside.
Yeah, she's coming off back-to-back 26-point efforts, which is a season high for the Division I commit headed to Illinois State. And it's kind of an old-school post presence. She's got power. She likes to bang down low. A very Giannis Antetokounmpo-like heat map. She's going to get her points right around the basket and power through it.
And the girl in charge of stopping her tonight is Michaela Thomas, who has been on a hot offensive streak of her own the last 3 games.
Yeah, playing really well, leading the team in scoring coming in. And when I was chatting with Randy Etherton, the head coach of SLP, before the game, he really praised Michaela Thomas's effort defensively. A long, athletic junior who's going to be a big part of stopping and, well, maybe putting somewhat of a stop to McGowan, a great player on the other end.
Should be a fun one coming up next. We'll see how it plays out. Coming up on North Metro TV.
North Metro TV News is your source for local stories. Highlighting the issues in your community, we bring you the news that's closer to home. Join us as we explore the stories all around us, every day at 2:30, 6:30, and 10:30.
Back here at Spring Lake Park High School, where the Panthers take the floor ahead of their big matchup in conference play tonight against the Robbinsdale Armstrong Falcons. And you take a look at head coach Antoine Easley for the Falcons in his 18th season. So he's been in a few of these games, and his team actually swept Spring Lake Park in their 2 meetings last season. So this is a team that he feels very confident in, and it all goes through Savannah McGowan, as we highlighted in the open. Meanwhile, Randy Etherton on the other side, the Spring Lake Park Panthers head coach, longtime man himself, and certainly has his team feeling loose and playing confidence. You see him smiling there on the sidelines, and we'll see this. They're in the midst of a nice home stretch, and Spring Lake Park has been playing good ball, Matt, as you pointed out recently.
Yeah, two teams kind of headed in a little bit different directions. Like, we're talking with the Panthers, definitely got that positive vibe hearing from Etherton. And surprising given how short-handed the Panthers have been as we take a look at the starting lineups.
Indeed, it'll be Dilly Starks, Jones, Fisher, Fondow, and McGowan for Armstrong. And meanwhile, for the Panthers, Nussbaum, Thomas, Kesty, Smith, and such.
Good news for the Panthers is they've had that pretty much regular starting 5 intact. Where the losses have come due to injuries, 3 key players off the bench missing, so it's a very thin rotation.
And so foul trouble may be an issue tonight as Spring Lake Park opens with the basketball after winning the opening tip. And right away, Olivia Casti goes to work on the offensive end.
Yeah, nice take. No doubt about it. She knew right where she was headed, streaking to the basket and getting Spring Lake Park on the board.
Down low, first turnover of the game forced as the Falcons get a steal. Nice move inside, but missing on the shot, Cameron Smith. It's out of bounds. It'll remain on this end with the Panthers.
Seeing it already in the first offensive possession for Armstrong. We were mentioning, Bill, I got a chance to see the Falcons in Shakopee last night, and they shot an okay percentage from the floor at 45% as the team. Where the struggles came was they weren't hitting their threes, and they were turning the ball over way too much.
Brianna Nussbaum makes it 2 layups in a row for Spring Lake Park, and they're out to a 4-0 lead as they continue to set up full court pressure against the Falcons.
Curious to see if the Falcons will try to bring a similar look as Spring Lake Park tries to get down the floor defensively too.
Dilly Starks drains one from the corner. That was something they weren't doing much of last night. Just 2 3-pointers in the game against Shakopee.
Anything you can do to space the floor, open up some looks inside for McGowan. They only had 2 threes all last night.
Such keeps it alive on the offensive glass, and the Panthers reset. Just about a minute gone by here in the first half as the three-pointer is drained from the right side. Cameron Smith for 3.
Nice response by the Panthers, who, I mean, right there are getting a contribution from not normally one of their big three-point shooters. Spring Lake Park aren't a huge team that launches from deep. Really, Michaela Thomas has been the lone steady threat from deep. So good to see those go in early from Smith, who only made 6 threes on the season coming in. Thomas, by far the team leader with 26.
Yes, 3 three-pointers, 3 different scorers, I should say, in the early going for Spring Lake Park, as Robbinsdale Armstrong will inbound from underneath the Spring Lake Park basket. Nice cut to the basket by Dilly Starks, and she's quickly got all 5 of the Falcons' points.
And in the meantime, for Robbinsdale Armstrong, they're looking for contributions from anybody they can get. Dilly Starks was quiet last night in Shakopee, and they only had 4 scorers, where it was mostly Savannah McGowan carrying the load with 26 of the 47 yesterday for the Falcons in the loss.
Cam Smith thought about the 3, but ended up putting it on the deck and drawing a foul on Lauren Jones, who picks up her first foul, and Cam Smith goes to the free throw line for 2. Short on the first. Panthers, not the greatest free throw shooting team, just 56% on the season. 1 for 2. Smith goes at the line. She's got 4, and it's an 8-5 Panther lead with 2 minutes gone by here in the first half. The man-to-man defense employed by Spring Lake Park as McGowan holds top of the key. Both teams, interestingly, applying sort of token full court pressure, trying to speed the other team up. Feels like turnovers and whether or not a team can get into its offense is always key in these kind of tight contests. There's a nice basket cut and layup for Jones off the curl.
Nice job of the Falcons setting up their half-court offense there, kind of confusing the Panthers, who, yeah, we were saying it looked like man-to-man look. A lot of times the Panthers will play kind of a 1-3-1 type of zone, so we'll see if they mix up the defensive looks here today.
Smith with the step back. Such is there for the stick back. 4 starters already on the scoreboard for Spring Lake Park.
I was talking with Randy Etherton before the game, and he was quick to point out Such how important she is in rebounding, averaging 9 a game. She's actually got more offensive rebounds than defensive rebounds this year, which you don't see too often.
Travel for the second turnover of the half on the Falcons as Madison Fondau moved a little too quick. Kayla Thomas, ironically, the only starter not on the score sheet for Spring Lake Park. She gets it here and will attempt a left wing 3 and drain it. Just as I say that, she gets on the scoreboard with a 3-pointer, second 3 of the half made by Spring Lake Park.
Does a little bit of everything for the Panthers, leading 3-point shooter, as we mentioned. She is an impact player defensively, and speaking of impact defensive plays, nearly a steal forced here by Smith as Armstrong will walk it back into the half court.
McGowan gets it on the post, turns over her right shoulder, and can't hit the bunny. It's tapped out of bounds, however, off Thomas. And so it remains down on this end with Armstrong.
That's normally a shot that McGowan gets. One defender, like she might have just turned around and been so shocked. Only one player was standing in front of her.
Where's the double?
Yeah, I mean, she's used to getting walled off by 2 bodies minimum this year, so that's one she'll normally get.
Dilly Starks has her shot blocked by Kesty. Thomas will give it off, and now Smith. It's swung to the near side. Spring Lake Park kind of employing a 4-out, 1-in look. Long 3-pointer short right to McGowan. Be interesting to see how the shot clock affects things in the coming years. Both these teams don't think any danger of getting a shot clock violation, but that'll just be interesting to see how that affects the pace. And as a long three is drilled by Madison Fondau.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't talked to a coach yet who seems too concerned about it. I mean, especially down here, the Northwest Suburban Conference, particularly on the boys' side, so many teams play with so much pace.
Michaela Thomas 2 for 2 from beyond the arc. She's got 6 to lead all scorers, and it's a 16-10 lead.
I think both these teams fall into the camp where it's not eye-poppingly fast up and down the floor, but a team where it's shot clock's not going to bother either of these two programs very much when it comes in next year.
Yeah. No, that's a good point. A lot of teams, especially in this conference, play with enough pace. Avery Purifoy, our first substitution of the half.
If I can be a Twin Cities Metro elitist, I mean, the amount of talent you have just in high school sports overall, but especially in this densely populated of an area, when you have that many good athletes, great shooters that we see every day in any high school gym you walk into, there's no reason to play slow all the time. There are opportunities for all these teams to use their talent to get up and down the floor. Good
ball denial and steal for Spring Lake Park. They've really turned the defense up, and that right there, they denied McGowan, who now hands it. A little baseline runner, too strong from Nussbaum.
Yeah, active hands from the Panthers so far. A couple of steals, but a lot of deflections and making it tough on Armstrong in the half court so far.
Dribble drive picked up by Fondau. Somehow gets the shot off. And Smith pushes in transition. One-handed whip pass. Instead, that's intercepted by Dilly Starks, and it goes out of bounds. She turns it right back over to Spring Lake Park.
Yep, fortuitous bounce for the Panthers. Trying to push the pace up a little bit when clearly Armstrong had numbers back. And just a good break here for SLP as Dilly Starks stepped out over the baseline.
Yeah, an aggressive play for Spring Lake Park, and fortunate to get it back. Fed to McGowan underneath, off her hands, and out of bounds. Already the 5th turnover of the half for Armstrong. As you said, 2 steals for Spring Lake Park, as a couple players, including Emily Fisher, enter for the Falcons. You said Spring Lake Park a little bit injured right now, and that's why they're only going 6 deep tonight.
Yeah, they're getting used to it. We were talking with Randy Etherton before the game, and was saying, yes, they're going to be a little tired as they get down to the end of it, but they're used to it. And it's about a 4-game stretch where they've been short at least a couple of players every game, as we see a really nice block here from Michaela Thomas, who had come in with over 30 on the season and averaging 2.5 per game. She comes up with a swat there. But they're getting used to playing on fumes a little bit late, and for the most part, it's worked out well during this 4-game stretch. They're 3-1.
And if they can just stay out of foul trouble against McGowan, that'll help. As she turns around and gets her first bucket of the game, showing some touch along the baseline, and then a sloppy turnover for Spring Lake Park right here as Cam Smith stepped over the end line.
See a little bit of the soft touch there from McGowan. You got to give some credit to Bella Such, number 45 for SLP. She has got some strength too. She's not going to get pushed around by McGowan out there.
And right there, held up nicely as Taylor Bergstrom off the bench comes down with the rebound, smallest player on the court.
Last night in Shakopee, McGowan, there were some tall players on the other side for Shakopee, a couple of 6-footers, but nobody that could really compete with her strength-wise down low. So going to be an important game for Such to try to handle her down there.
Swung to the top for Thomas, and off the mark with that 3-pointer. And a couple of them so far. It's a 4-point lead for the Panthers as we near the 10-minute mark of the first half. Kicked out nicely, kept alive for a Fisher 3. It's tapped off of Such and out of bounds. Smart play by McGowan, who knew she wasn't going to get the rebound, but kept it alive for her team. Billy Starks returns, replacing Fondau. Dilly Starks on a nice out-of-bounds play drawn up by Antoinette Easley. And Dilly Starks has 7 in this first half, and that allows Armstrong off these makes to set up their pressure. Smith, hesitation dribble. Such grabs the rebound. McGowan battling with Such down there. Smith picks it up. Nearly had it stolen, but Spring Lake Park able to reset.
Yeah, really good fight there by Such to stay with it, tip it to a teammate.
Thomas kicks it out, and a three-pointer drained by Olivia Kesty. Great job by the Panthers to keep it alive, and it results in the fourth three-pointer of the first half. McGowan underneath. Good play by Such. Then she brings it down. The jump ball tied up, but it'll stay with the Panthers as Nussbaum returns.
Ooh, yeah, a little groan from SLP fans around us. Maybe a jump ball for just a half a second, but looked like Spring Lake Park could come up with it. They'll have the ball, but lose the possession arrow. They're hungry for that possession arrow around here in Spring Lake Park. They don't want to give it up.
Yeah, I've always said that about them. Fisher knocks it out of bounds. It'll remain with, you can't even say the blue, white, and red because both teams sporting those colors. Nussbaum gets it in just in time. Into the paint, draws the foul. Second team foul. SLP has not committed a foul yet. We're almost midway through this first half. That'll send Brianna Nussbaum to the line as she got into the paint. And that usually leads to good things.
Yeah, that one went against Avery Purifoy, the junior guard, reaching in.
Nussbaum off the mark, so SLP just 1 for 3 from the charity stripe. That one a friendly roll. 19-14.
Do you know Robbinsdale Armstrong High School?
Robbinsdale Armstrong fans very upset. Sorry, Matt. Very upset about something. You were saying?
Did you know that it was named after Neil Armstrong?
I think I had heard that at some point. Is that one's
I just
off
found that out this
and
week.
bounds.
I just found that out this week. I just thought there was just some, famous Minnesotan superintendent or something named Armstrong. But yeah, it's named after Neil Armstrong.
Nice.
They should have like a spaceman theme.
I tell you what,
mascot.
I'm over the moon learning that fact. As Nussbaum drives the lane for a layup. She's got 5 in the first half.
The Falcons is all well and good as a mascot, and I got to say their logo looks great. Love the red, white, and blue, but I could do with like the Armstrong spaceman or something.
Or the Rockets, yeah. Nussbaum splits defenders, and the charge taken. Fans not happy about that one, but a nice charge taken by Purifoy.
Yeah, I thought she set her feet. We'll obviously get a second look at it here on North
sliding.
Metro. Sliding a little bit. I think she might have got into good position there. It's kind of a toss-up. And again, not a situation where we're into foul trouble with 9 minutes left to go. It's a short bench, 6-player rotation for the Panthers tonight. They're first.
Purifoy waltzing to the bucket, but misses the layup. Bergstrom with another rebound. Senior picks up her dribble, and Nussbaum gets into the lane and draws another blocking foul. Second on Purifoy. Purifoy 2 fouls off the bench, so Michaela Thomas returns for Spring Lake Park. 8:28 remaining first half. An 8-point lead for Spring Lake Park. They look to make it 4 out of 5. Thomas from the baseline, well short.
Yeah, not much of a rest for Thomas. Kind of the most important player for Spring Lake Park.
Carly Fisher takes a timeout as Antoine Easley wants to talk things over, and I think he's still got a bone to pick with the ref. With 8:15 left in the first half and an 8-point lead for Spring Lake Park. Armstrong had cut it to a couple, but Spring Lake Park pulling away, and they've really shot it well from 3 in the early going, Matt.
Yeah, and getting contributions, some threes kind of spread around. I mean, Michaela Thomas, the junior, is the leading 3-point shooter. As we take a look at where these teams sit in the Northwest Suburban Conference standings, you've got Armstrong and SLP. They're chasing Elk River. You got a great Maple Grove team sitting at the top of the league who I've gotten to see once this year, and the Crimson just look really stellar. Really deep league, though, top to bottom everywhere.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the number of teams that are sitting there just at 5-2, right? There's like 6 teams at 5-2, so goes to show you how tough this league is. And as with every sport in this conference, the teams really just seem to beat up on each other in conference play. But these two teams, as we said, next to each other in the conference standings. As we're back to action, Emily Fisher jogs it across the timeline. Out of the timeout, still man-to-man employed by the Panthers. They get a deflection, but not a steal. Three-pointer for Marley Fisher is good. Carly Fisher, I should say, as she drains a three. Michaela Thomas on the other end, or rather Kesty on the other end, had it knocked out of bounds, so it'll remain with the Panthers.
Yeah, that's a player, Carly Fisher, hitting that last three, who I was surprised to see have a pretty quiet night last night. 3 of 7, just 6 points. Her and McGowan have been playing for Antoine Easley, the head coach of Armstrong, since they were middle schoolers. I think both of them were getting a little varsity time in the 7th grade. So those are 2 experienced players. Going to see Fisher play at the D2 level next year at MSU Moorhead. And that's just 2 players that kind of are the hub of everything these 2 squads do, is see Fisher, their primary point guard, take it up the floor.
Yeah, she's a very confident dribbler, leads the team in assists per game, averaging in double figures at 11 a contest. And McGowan, I believe, whistled for the moving screen. So first on Savannah, and it turns it over to Spring Lake Park. 6th turnover of the half for Armstrong. But yeah, Fisher, they need that second act, because when you just have McGowan, it's one thing. But as we saw last night against Shakopee, it takes more than just a great effort from her to earn a victory.
Yeah, she had 26 points. The final score was, just a 9-point loss, but Armstrong were down big at halftime. They kind of pulled it back close. It never really felt like it was that close. They at one point trailed 21 last night. And we're kind of out of it by halftime as Shakopee just reined in the threes. We see Nussbaum just kind of chucking up a prayer. She is going to earn a trip to the line and shoot 2 here. But, yeah, we were talking with Antoine Easley about it before the game. You can't get into a shooting battle and start trading 2s for 3s if you're on the wrong side of that equation. And that's kind of what happened last night, is it dried up, the well did, from beyond the arc. No doubt.
2 for 2 this time for Nussbaum, as she continues to get into the lane and make things happen. It's a 7-point lead for the Panthers with 7 minutes to go first half.
And on that note, the 3-point battle right now being won by the Panthers, as we were talking about it the first time out. 4 threes to Armstrong's 2, although the Falcons matched the total they hit last night.
Emily Fisher, sister of Carly, gets into the lane, and she'll make the first trip to the line for Armstrong tonight. And when the shots aren't falling, you got to figure out a way to get buckets, and sometimes that's putting it on the deck. 5'10" sophomore. Buries the first. Such pulls down the rebound. Fisher 1 for 2. Bella Such cutting to the basket and drawing a foul. First foul of the game on Jade Peterson, 6'2" junior, into the game for the first time with McGowan on the bench. And already the 5th trip to the foul line tonight for Spring Lake Park. You gotta like how aggressive they are being tonight, attacking the basket.
Yeah, Bella Such defensively has been a really important presence to kind of match the physicality of McGowan down low, and using some of that strength and aggression on the offensive end as well, too, and getting a trip to the line. And, yeah, it's nice to have a 6'2" junior, Jade Peterson, to replace her. But still, even with that height, Such liked the matchup, facing up the junior on the other end.
Such had some monster games last year. 1 for 2 on this trip. So Panthers living up to that roughly 50% free throw mark this year.
Yes, Such second leading scorer in the Panthers, averaging almost 13 a game. We talked about her important contributions off the glass as well, too, rebounding-wise.
This move by Carly Fisher, scoop and score. She's got 5 in the first half, and it's a 5-point Spring Lake Park lead. Smith hands for Thomas as switching all screens at the top, and Thomas a little aggressive trying to get it to Taylor Bergstrom in the corner. Just the second turnover of the half on the Panthers, as Antoine Easley has to be pleased with his defense.
Interesting to see how Coach Easley on the Armstrong side is kind of managing the bench maybe a little differently with the Falcons playing back-to-backs. Last night's game, they really only played this kind of truncated schedule because of all those cancellations with the snow in December. So end up playing back-to-backs. They're going to play again our Armstrong on Friday, as we see turnover here from SLP as Fondau walks with it. So I didn't see McGowan sit on the bench much last night. Shackby's the point, and a little bit of an extended run here as they try to play without her and keep this game close as they're within 5 and inside 6 minutes to go first half.
Well, and certainly Coach Easley, as Such goes to the left hand and scores. Certainly Coach Easley, you would think, just wants to keep his star player out of foul trouble here with still over 5 minutes to go before halftime. It's tipped and stolen again by SLP. Third steal of the half. Cam Smith into the front court. They're doing a nice job of putting it on the deck and getting into those gaps. And now Coach Etherton, just as I say that, Coach Etherton wants a 20-second timeout to talk things over with his team enjoying a 7-point lead.
Yeah, good shooting start for both these teams. The pace has been good. It's been a little bit up and down so far. And Armstrong, I think, looking like a team that feels, I think, pretty thankful to be able to get to play back-to-back as they look to shake off kind of a rough patch to the season. I'm sure Coach Easley has some things that he would want to work on and maybe a practice or two in between before the next game. But if you're a player, you kind of have a stinker like you did last night. You just want to get back on the court and try to put it behind you. And Spring Lake Park want to keep getting back to their winning ways. They had chained together a little 3-game winning streak against some solid opponents in conference. Ran into Champlin Park, who kind of had, it sounds like, one of their better shooting performances of the season from an already good Rebels team, and there was just kind of no stopping them on Thursday night when SLP were last in action.
Out of the timeout, Kesty turns. Gets it back on the deflection. McGowan back in there. So a brief rest for her, and it's Carly Fisher cannot keep it in play. Wonder if Antoine Easley's going to have his team ramp up the defensive pressure. SLP's had a lot of success going downhill, but maybe they'll try to extend their pressure and make it a little more uncomfortable. Kicked out to Cam Smith from the left wing for 3, no good. Such grabs the offensive rebound, and they called a jump ball there. That'll result in a turnover back to the Falcons.
That's a couple times now. Was it Such the first time too, where she looked like she had maybe cleanly grabbed the rebound? I think that was more clear-cut that it was a jump ball, but a few groans here in the Panther gym, kind of remembering the first call where it was a little more of a toss-up.
Three-pointer drilled by Carly Fisher. She has 8, including 2 3-pointers. And Robbinsdale Armstrong's back within 4. Such, one-hand kick out to Thomas for 3, no good. Charge called, taken well right there by Madison Fondau. SLP is only committed 3 fouls in this half, and 2 of them have been on the offensive foul variety.
And nobody with more than 1 so far, so not a huge concern yet, but a couple of charges not breaking their way, and the Falcons not shy about staying on their ground.
Little matchup zone employed by SLP, and Carly Fisher tries to shoot him out of it. with her second consecutive three, and all of a sudden it's a 1-point game. Little miscommunication results in a turnover. See if they go back to the man-to-man or stick in that matchup zone. They'll stay in the matchup zone. Nope, I lied. I think they're back in it. And again, Fisher hits a three. She is on fire. She has drained 3 straight triples. She's got 4 in the game, and she's got 14 now for Robbinsdale Armstrong. They could have used this from her last night. Kesty misses. Nice block out by Fondau. First lead of the game for Robbinsdale Armstrong, 29-27.
Yeah, an incredible start for the Falcons doing this where Savannah McGowan, your leading scorer, only has 2 points on the night.
Oh, Fisher continues her hot hand. That's her 11th straight point. And now she goes to the line looking to convert a 3-point play.
Yeah, what a start to the game for Carly Fisher, in particular this run the last few minutes. We talked about it. Fisher is a player you can't forget about in the starting lineup. Her and McGowan have been playing varsity ball since the 7th grade. She knows what to do on a high school basketball court, and she's taken over right now. So this is the offense, I think, that head coach Antoine Easley envisioned a little more for the Falcons, where you've got, at best, your 2 star players going at the same time, and at worst, you've got Carly Fisher taking over the game, and you can give McGowan a little bit of a rest and not worry about her getting into foul trouble.
17 first half points and a 5-point lead now for Robbinsdale Armstrong, as Spring Lake Park looking for some offense. A little bit of a drought now for the Panthers. Kesty gets into the lane, and McGowan swats her shot. Why go anywhere else but Carly Fisher right now? She's got 12 straight. Dilly Starks gets into the lane. Little crow dribble, crow hop, but missed the bunny. Nussbaum out top for Cam Smith. SLP needing a bucket. Bergstrom for 3, answers. Big 3 hit by Taylor Bergstrom.
6th woman of the game so far for SLP.
Yes, exactly. Here's a Dilly Starks getting space. Fisher underneath lays it in. She is red hot, 19 points, including the last 14 for Robbinsdale Armstrong.
Yeah, she has only missed once from the floor all night as well so far. Another hard rebound pulled down by McGowan, and Armstrong feels like the floor is starting to tilt their way as they take this 4-point lead.
Dilly Starks underneath, missed the shot, but fouled by Bergstrom, so she'll go to the line for 2. 5th team foul of the half on SLP.
Well, we mentioned it a little bit too about how, you can get it's so much easier to get your defense set after a make than a miss. And the wells dried up a little bit for SLP. Armstrong's not exactly running the floor, but they're able to get it up pretty quick, get into the half court, and take some quick shots here in this sequence where Carly Fisher's been on fire. Wall, SLP are still kind of getting set.
Dilly Starks goes 2 for 2, and it's a 6-point lead. Largest of the half now for Robbinsdale Armstrong. Largest lead of the half for Spring Lake Park was 8. And Fisher, oh boy, what kind of a game would it have been if she had this hot hand against Shakopee last night? She said a quiet night for her. Bergstrom goes downhill, and McGowan right there. And that did not, it was David and Goliath right there, and Goliath won.
Yeah, not exactly help defense crashing down. I mean, there's a switch here, and McGowan just Terminator eyes glowing. She was tracking her the entire way.
Right into the defense, well read. 3 blocks now for McGowan, unofficially. 3-pointer from the corner is good. Olivia Kesty, her 2nd triple of the half. Each team now with 6 3-pointers in the half. And it's a 3-point lead for Robbinsdale Armstrong as we near a minute to play here before halftime.
Falcons just weren't in that game last night because they weren't making their threes, or they were letting in too many too, and that hasn't changed here defensively so far as the Panthers are still dropping them in from beyond the arc.
Nussbaum gives for Cam Smith, who wants a triple in and out. 44 seconds left. We'll see if Antoine Easley and the Falcons want to hold for one shot. A 3-point lead. Fisher goes behind the back with a dribble, missed the runner. Can't get the rebound, and Nussbaum clears. 30 seconds to go.
Only the second time Fisher's missed tonight.
Cam Smith tries to Euro step between defenders, and she draws the foul. 7th team foul on the Armstrong, on Armstrong, and that's a big foul because that's the 3rd already on Avery Purifoy.
Smith shooting 2.
Cam Smith shooting 2. Smith tonight with 4 points, make that 5.
Yeah, we mentioned, I mean, Spring Lake Park, because of injuries, are playing with a pretty thin rotation. Armstrong don't really heavily rotate through much more than 7, maybe 8 players in a given night. So anytime even a bench contributor like Purifoy starts to rack him up, a little bit of a concern, something to watch.
17 seconds remaining, 2-point deficit for Spring Lake Park. Carly Fisher against Nussbaum, and she's got a nice size advantage there. Dilly Stark's 3 is short. Nussbaum saves it in. 5 seconds remaining. Smith draws a foul with a half second left. That's going to be on Madison Fondau, and that'll be her 2nd personal. Cam Smith continuing to attack. Gets into the body of Fondau and draws the foul.
Yeah, she's been impressive tonight. Smith with a 3 made in. She's not shooting at a super high percentage so far, but she's getting to the line right now. She's creating her own shot with some really good moves to the basket.
You've got a ref going over to the scorers table to discuss something. Actually, correction, 8th team foul on Armstrong, so it should be the 1-and-1, or maybe even, 2 shots because it was a shooting foul. 0.8 seconds, that's what they corrected. 0.8 seconds remaining as Smith hits the first. She is now 3 for 5. She's gone 1 for 2 every trip she's had. 6 points, part of a balanced scoring effort. This time she goes 2 for 2 and ties the game at 36. Time expires here in the first half. Spring Lake Park had an 8-point lead. Then the Armstrong Falcons erased it, took a 6-point lead of their own, but Spring Lake Park's come back late in the first half at the free throw line to tie us at 36. Back with first half analysis, stats, and more in just a moment here on North Metro TV.
Lino Lakes is the gateway to the metro area, just minutes north of Minneapolis and St. Paul. Conveniently located on I-35W, this growing city still maintains its North Country feel. Lino Lakes is a safe, fun, and affordable community that values its award-winning schools. Outdoor lovers will discover miles of hiking, biking, and water trails. Growing businesses will find premier development opportunities with great freeway visibility and ready to help your businesses grow. Come to live, work, and play in Lino Lakes.
Back here at Spring Lake Park High School, Bill Hupp and Matt Dean, North Metro TV, as we look at first half highlights of a very entertaining and competitive game here in the Northwest Suburban Conference between Armstrong and Spring Lake Park. Back and forth it went. Armstrong getting a nice early start with Milena Dilly-Starks, and then a three by Madison Fondow. But Spring Lake Park would respond with the shooting of Michaela Thomas, who had a couple triples in the half. But then it was Carly Fisher who took over for the Falcons, led them on a comeback, scored 14 straight points, 14 of her 19 points in the first half, and including 4 triples. And she was really the difference. But Spring Lake Park, as you see, take a look at Carly Fisher's numbers. The senior guard struggled last night against Shakopee, but she is on fire tonight. 19 points, 3 rebounds, and a couple assists in that first half. And she was really the difference and kept Armstrong in this game, because Savannah McGowan, Matt, just 2 points.
Yeah, McGowan, you know, they got a chance to rest her. Armstrong just looked good when they went 5 around the perimeter. Just kind of clear out, let Carly Fisher cook a little bit, and she just took over the game. And credit to Armstrong and as well to McGowan for just getting out of the way and letting a player on a hot streak continue to shoot. She was 7 of 9 from the floor. She did not miss on all 4 of her 3-point attempts. And she's been playing varsity basketball since the 7th grade, just like McGowan. So she knows what to do when she's got a streak going like that. And the Falcons capitalized to pull the game back even just before half.
Extended defensive pressure to start as the Falcons go man-to-man as we get underway. Kesty underneath. She had a couple 3-pointers in that half. Such drives the lane, and the charge is called. Fondow has taken all 3 charges, and it's been the same ref who's called all 3 charges as Bella Such picks up her first call. And I don't know, it looked like she may have been moving there, but the call is what it was. And so they go to work. We saw Such earlier, one of 5 starters for, as McGowan goes underneath and Nussbaum grabs the rebound. All 5 starters for Spring Lake Park between 5 and 8 points in the first half as Nussbaum draws the personal foul. And she did that a lot. 3rd trip to the line already for Nussbaum, but balanced scoring. Fisher was the leading scorer for the Falcons with 19, but Nussbaum.
Guess who else was hitting the floor again? I don't know if Fondow was necessarily trying to draw a charge that time. It looked like she more ran into her teammate that time, but she's quick to go to the floor. It's a skill.
She's a regular Brad Davidson out there.
Brad Davison.
Davison, excuse me.
Okay, don't try to drop the Badger knowledge on me. And
who am I talking to? Is Nussbaum 2 for 2 from the charity
Just
strike.
let me know when they're unveiling the statue up in Maple Grove, and I will be there, okay?
He is a local legend, and yeah, loved to hit the floor, and did so great at taking charges. Fondow has taken a couple, as we said. Spring Lake Park back on top by a couple as we're a minute into the second half. Pulling up and hitting is Lauren Jones, for her 2nd field goal of the game. Smith Such wants a three-pointer and hits. Bella Such showing some range. 8 for her now. As we said, very balanced scoring for the Panthers tonight with all their starters contributing.
Yeah, Smith had a good look from 3 in that last possession.
Found out Aaron on that one. Such keeps it alive. And here comes Smith into the front court.
I want to see Smith take that. She hit that early 3, missed her next couple, so seems a little gun shy from around the perimeter. We were talking about how good she looks going to the basket, but got to keep the defense honest and spraying a 3 from time to time. So saw number 33 pass up that last shot. Worked out for the Panthers as Such hit a big shot anyway.
Kesty tries to hit the runner. Nussbaum in there instead, and she'll go to the line for the 4th time tonight. She's 5 of 8 from the charity stripe. Make that the 5th time, as she's been really nice tonight. Very aggressive down low. And she will try to get into double figures and be the first Panther to do so.
Really even first half of play. We saw both teams shoot right around 42, 45% in that range. Both teams had 6 threes. SLP, though, a little bit of a difference in the game. Getting to the line, they had 13 free throw attempts to Armstrong's 4 in that first half.
Yeah, that's just a symptom of how they've been driving the basketball. 8 turnovers in that first half for Robbinsdale Armstrong. So they want to clean that up. Fisher errant on the 3, battle for the rebound. She gets it and sticks it back. Carly Fisher read it well, and she's got 21.
That's going to upset Randy Etherton, I think, over on the SLP bench. You finally get a miss. The lots roll your way, and that red-hot shooter finally falls short, and then you don't box out, and she gets her own rebound and puts it back up anyway.
Thomas's long 3 is off the mark. 41-40. Spring Lake Park with a 1-point lead. McGowan wants a 3-pointer. Leaves that short. If she starts hitting 3s, forget about it.
Yeah, you got to give her that. You got to give her something.
Little pass fake from Cam Smith. Misses the mark. Slaps it out of bounds. It'll turn over to the Falcons. First substitution of the half as Avery Purifoy returns. 3 fouls for Purifoy. So let's try to stay out of foul trouble. Token pressure applied by the Panthers. Billy Starks to the corner. Purifoy just inside the 3-point line. Michaela Thomas clears, and that's the thing, is Thomas still plays defense and gets rebounds, even if she's not pouring it in offensively. Nussbaum on the switch on McGowan, spins into the lane and hits. Whoa. Pretty move from Brianna Nussbaum.
Yeah, what a bucket there. I mean, we talk about mismatches every time we see a bigger player have the ball against a smaller one, but that was just a beautiful play for Nussbaum to recognize that she has a bigger defender, pull her out into space, and kind of shake and bake on the way to the basket.
Nussbaum gets to the bucket again. She's up to 13 for the game. Very impressive. 5 free throws, 4 field goals, 13 points to lead all scorers for SLP. A 5-point Panthers lead as we're inside of 14 minutes. Fisher just 2 points in this half. Still trying to assert McGowan, who's got just 2. Remember, scored 26 last night. Just as I say that, Carly Fisher drains her 5th 3-pointer of the game. She's up to 24.
I like the defense in that possession from Spring Lake Park. Cam Smith was jumping up and down like a rabbit on the 3-point arc. You see so many games where I was watching a JV game before a broadcast last week, and we were talking about, I mean, high school athletes are as good as they've ever been on the basketball court in shooting. Like, everybody has somebody that can shoot. And the amount of times you see teams without their hands up on the perimeter, it's just astounding. I heard a coach yelling at a kid, hey, get your hands up, there's a shooter out there. And Spring Lake Park tonight, a really good job to keep the hands up out in the perimeter. Saw Cam Smith was doing it, and she then drives and gets a trip to the free throw line as well.
it makes such a difference as you see Fondau checking out. Her 4th foul she just picked up. Cam Smith has struggled at the free throw line tonight, just at 5 of 10 as she is up to 9 points, and it's a 3-point Panther lead. Yeah, you wouldn't, I think if you asked Antoine Easley, he'd be thrilled that his team was within 3 points and McGowan's only got a couple.
Yeah, no doubt about it, right? Because the last 2 games, McGowan having her best 2 games scoring doesn't necessarily mean it's translated to wins for the Falcons as well, too. So good to see them get some balanced scoring, and it absolutely feels like a game where McGowan is due to wake up at some point.
Kesty got caught in the air and came down with it and traveled.
And we should say, wake up offensively. We've mentioned it specifically in regards to Michaela Thomas, but the same is true for McGowan here too. You can see her kind of affecting that play with her defense. Even though she didn't necessarily get the block shot, she's been rebounding. She's just her presence being down low affects the way the other team plays. So she's not scoring tonight when we mean wake up. She's going to start waking up and dropping in some buckets to go along with it.
Yeah, credit the defensive Bella Such for holding her in check. But yeah, she is affecting games in the game in other ways as Such. Speaking of defense, knocks it out of play. It'll stay down on this end.
And we just saw it there too. Like Armstrong, when they need a bucket, like in a close game, they're going to do that little 2-man game with Carly Fisher. You saw McGowan come up to the top of the key and provide a screen, run the pick and roll with Fisher and McGowan, and her setting those screens and being a threat there, drawing some of the attention of the other team has been a factor.
Kesty holds in the corner. 5-out look right now for Spring Lake Park. A lot of cutters. Smith goes behind the back. 12 minutes to go. A 3-point lead for the Panthers. Pull up Thomas off the mark. She's not had her best shooting night tonight. Fisher to Fisher cross court. And Thomas again affecting things defensively, coming over to block that shot of Emily Fisher.
That blocks leader for the Panthers, we said, averaging almost 2.5 stuffs per game. Another rejection here. She's had at least a couple tonight. Sending that one out by the baseline and welcoming a sophomore to varsity basketball. Like, that stuff might work in the JV game, not working tonight.
Too much size and athleticism at the varsity level. Carly Fisher leaves it short. Good rebound by Cam Smith. She pushes the pace for SLP. Euro stepping her way to the basket and draws the foul. And I think good positioning or right idea by Emily Fisher, but just too far underneath the basket in the restricted area, right on it. So that'll send Cam Smith to the foul line for already the 6th time tonight.
Yeah, we've seen Smith get downhill, get to the basket. That's one of the players, 33. You got to pick her up at the half court or as she's starting to enter into the offensive half, because if you're trying to pick her up in the paint, it's probably already too late. She's shifty with those moves up to the basket, and leading the Panthers in trips to the free throw line tonight. It hasn't been her night shooting from the stripe, but she's been an important part of what the Panthers are doing tonight, just getting to the line and driving inside the paint, giving that different look.
6 of her 9 coming at the charity stripe, as it's a 5-point lead again for Spring Lake Park. It's kind of a similar between 5 and 7, or 3 and 7 has really been their lead all night. Carly Fisher continuing to be aggressive, misses that one.
Good runner by Fisher, but again, number 24, Michaela Thomas, not a block, but affecting that shot.
Nussbaum off the side of the backboard. Here comes Dilly Starks. Could have been a travel, instead it's jump ball right underneath the Spring Lake Park basket. It'll remain with the Falcons down on this end. Great pressure by Bergstrom on Dilly Starks. Spring Lake Park doing a nice job of hands up on the perimeter. McGowan quickly doubled, kicks it out for a Fisher 3, and it's good. That's Emily Fisher who hits that 3, and it leads to a timeout quickly by Antoine Easley.
That's more the bread and butter what Armstrong can do. I mean, it's textbook.
Inside
McGowan,
out.
yeah, gets the post touch inside. She waits for that double team to collapse, and before they kind of pinch in and take the ball away, she's able to just jet it out to an open shooter, Emily Fisher, and that maybe Antoine Easley's just taking a timeout, and he's like, hey, guys, do that again.
Yeah, well, after having 2 threes last night, they've got 8 tonight, including 5 by Fisher. Let's take a look at our upcoming schedule for the Panthers. Another run of home games. They'll be at Elk River on Friday, but then you see 3 consecutive home games before heading to Park Center and then hosting Elk River. So if the Panthers can do some damage at home, they can get that record above 500. They're just below right now at 6-7 and 3-4 in conference play.
Yeah, Rogers, 14th ranked team in the state, girls class 4A coming into the week, so that's definitely one to watch. And,
Elk River, a long-time power as well, maybe down this year, but certainly a long-time powerhouse that's made appearances at the state tournament in recent years. 24 points for number 24 for Armstrong, Carly Fisher, who came in averaging 11. And she has kept the Falcons in this basketball game. They trail it just by 2 as we're inside 10.5 minutes to go, second half. Cameron Smith gets the step and draws another foul, that one on Carly Fisher. Now you got to start looking at the fouls out there. Lauren Jones with 4, Fonda with 4. Or rather, I'm looking at the points, my bad. My mistake. Lauren Jones now with just 2. Classic broadcaster's
I was about to say,
mistake.
I didn't think I was that far off on my score sheet.
When in doubt, trust you. Cam Smith drains her 7th free throw of the night.
Double-digit effort for Smith tonight.
Gets the rebound, Such up with it. Nope. Foul underneath, and so already the foul is really piling up for Armstrong. 6th team foul of the half on the Falcons. Just 1 for the Panthers, but credit to Bella Such for getting after it on the offensive glass.
Yeah, she's been huge tonight. She's giving McGowan somebody to compete with, and that's a player we talked about it in the open. She's a walking double-double. She's averaging a dozen boards a game. And just a really good job, really fun battle between those 2 bigs down low tonight.
Probably not used to playing against someone who is maybe as strong as she is, and Such giving up an inch or 2, but definitely is a very strong physical presence down low. Kesty at the elbow tries to split defenders, and McGowan forces the turnover. Really turned back over. The Falcons break the pressure. Corner 3 off the mark. McGowan gets a little space and goes up with it. And that's kind of what you'd expect to see from Savannah McGowan. Just her 2nd basket of the game. Spring Lake Park's lead is cut to 1.
Yeah, and it takes almost 10 minutes into the second half for her to get her first bucket since that first half 2-pointer.
Kesty wants her 3rd 3 and hits. Olivia Kesty's had 4 field goals tonight. 3 of them have been behind the arc. And Randy Etherton wants to take a timeout as we see great ball movement from the Panthers, resulting in a wide open 3.
One of the keys I was talking about with Coach Etherton before the game for Spring Lake Park, he was talking about just they've been playing pretty well, but just a game where he felt like his team, the key, he was saying, no lulls in the game. They can't afford to, take a lead, fall into a slump either offensively or defensively and start to let Armstrong in this game. And we've been talking about the balance in the scoring in the lineup tonight. They only have 6 players to really go to at the varsity level right now, and contributions from players like the junior Brianna Nussbaum, who is putting in 13 points so far for a player averaging 9 a game. Your top players aren't going to be able to control the game in every possession. So Nussbaum looking really effective at times, driving to the basket. It's opened it up for everybody else.
Nice play out of the timeout, again drawn up by Coach Easley. And that results in Milena Dilly-Stark's 4th basket of the game. And Armstrong hanging around, trailing by just 2. 3 players now in double figures for Spring Lake Park. Nussbaum is one of them. She gets to the basket and draws another foul on Emily Fisher. When I say another, I mean Emily Fisher's first. But she draws another foul, and Nussbaum, just like Smith, has been just really decisive with their drives to the basket tonight.
I was about to say, it's like Cam Smith light a little bit, where just confidently, right, she feels the foul coming down. She instinctively starts to lean in and push up that shot. And these two, like it has created the space for the three-point looks that have been falling for the Panthers tonight, 6 in the first half.
Combined, they have hit 17 free throws tonight, and to be honest, if they'd shot a slightly better percentage, this could be a double-figure lead for Spring Lake Park. They have a 3-point lead as it is with 8.5 minutes remaining. Fisher kicks it out for Jones. It's off the mark. Jones gets her own rebound. Knocked out of bounds. Stays with Robbinsdale Armstrong. Nussbaum 14. Kesty with 11. Smith with 10. Fisher thought about it from the corner. Great closeout by Nussbaum. McGowan turns over her shoulder. Thomas gets bodied up, no call after she grabs the rebound. Wonder if Thomas maybe should start asserting herself a little more offensively. Gives it up for Kesty here. Nussbaum in the middle. Crashes into Jones and goes flying, no call. Fouls are 7-1, and now it seems like the refs may be letting them play a little more. Fisher takes advantage, gets to the cup, draws the contact from Thomas, and he'll shoot 2. Carly Fisher just 1 free throw tonight. She's done most of her damage from beyond the arc.
Yep, that is going to be the second for Thomas, and as we talked about, fouls not a problem here as a team in the second half, only 2 for Spring Lake Park. And yeah, Fisher just adding a little bit of an extra dimension to her game. She was molten hot from beyond the arc in the first half. Now starting to find those lanes driving to the basket. She's sucked the defense out a little bit toward the perimeter to respect her shot there, and starting to find those lanes opening up as she gets downhill.
25 points for her, including 5 3-pointers in this game, as she cuts the deficit to 1. 3 for 3 from the line for her. Scoreboard says 25. I'm pretty sure she's got 26 for the game, but 53-52. It's a 1-point Panthers lead. And you're right, they are playing 6 players in their rotation, maybe 7 with Bergstrom getting a little bit of run. Thomas wants a corner 3. Such tries to save it, can't. And Thomas a little cold offensively. It's so hard to just spot up and when you hesitate and still have a rhythm 3. Carly Fisher has carried this Armstrong team tonight.
Hasn't everybody, like kids in high school now, haven't they been working on a step back since like age 5 at this point? Though I think we're in a different era.
Still, yeah, that's true.
She should have stepped back into it.
Yes.
Probably more used to that.
Yeah, that would have at least been somewhat in rhythm. Fisher behind a screen off the mark, and it hits the stanchion above the basket. And it's the Panthers' ball. Robbinsdale Armstrong parents vociferous in their disagreement as Olivia Kesty returns.
Yeah, I mean, both teams got to shoot into that basket for 1 half. And unfortunately for Armstrong, it's this half. And yeah, it's that little stanchion up above the rim. It's out of play.
Not sure what there is to disagree with. Falcons will be picking up full court as Kesty replaces Nussbaum.
I'll be the umpire next time, and I'll walk out into the bleachers and we'll go over the ground rules before the game with the fans in attendance. That's what I'll provide here at Spring Lake Park High School next time.
It's like baseballs that hit the roof at Tropicana Field. Smith breaks the defense down, kicks to a cutting Kesty. Can't get the bucket to go. She will shoot 2. And that time Smith was distributor after getting into the lane.
Falcons, number 21, Lauren Jones.
Olivia Kesty, 11 points. 9 of her 11 from beyond the arc. In and out, and you just wonder if those free throw misses, they always seem to come back to haunt you. Savannah McGowan returns. You said she barely went out last night. She's gotten a little more rest tonight as see Kesty averaging just over 7 points a game. 11 tonight, make it 12.
Well, I still feel like, right, we've said it a couple times, Antoine Easley, I think he is okay with the situation his team's in right now. It's a one-possession game. Your best player, McGowan, is not in any sort of foul trouble, just one. She got a little bit of rest in that first half, and it just feels like you got an opportunity to get her going again. If not, then Carly Fisher as well, too, for a run here later. I think we got a good finish coming up here in this one with both these teams.
Absolutely.
Shooting well.
Absolutely, as Emily Fisher hits her second three-pointer of the half and gives Armstrong the lead, 55-54.
I didn't specify which Fisher, so I'm still right.
Yes. And that's ultimately what's most important. Michaela Thomas answers with a basket just inside of the three-point line.
Yes.
Back and forth these two teams go.
Speaking of which, we hadn't seen a Michaela Thomas basket yet in the second half until that one just went through. So talk about waiting for one of your best players to wake up. I think the same can be said for Spring Lake Park here in the second half with Thomas, who's been working hard defensively, but had that three-point stroke going early. May have just found it there. I know she was a step inside the line that time, but.
By my count, first steal of the second half, first turnover, so Armstrong definitely valuing the ball a little bit more, but that entry pass stolen by the Panthers. Now they have a chance to build on their lead with Thomas, who hits a big three. Her third of the game. Michaela Thomas into double figures now with 11. It's a 4-point lead. Fisher tries to answer. Emily, and it's boarded. Pushed ahead for Kesty. And another charge taken by the Falcons. By my count, Matt, their fourth charge taken of the night. And that's where you got to jump stop and put it up, because quite frankly, the player was, Carly Fisher was waiting.
Yeah, she just beat her to the spot. She had time to kind of check her watch, look up at the time.
That's right. Have
she
a
was
cheese
right there.
platter, you know, and she did all those things and took the charge. So smart play gets the basketball back to the Falcons with 5 minutes to play. Possession arrow in favor of SLP. Carly Fisher and Savannah McGowan. McGowan on the block, triple teamed by the Panthers, and she travels.
Oh, wow. I mean, that was a triple team almost. I don't even know how the ref saw between all the blue shirts that were swarming around McGowan. You talk about the respect this player gets. Look at this, 3 defenders on her. And I think, yeah, maybe just wiggled that pivot foot.
Nussbaum gets to the cup and lays it in. Brianna Nussbaum playing fearlessly tonight. She's got 16.
Next time someone tries to tell you that a basketball player is good and the only reason they're good is because they're tall, just show them that video. This is 3 players surrounding you, all the attention right in the middle of the floor. And that's kind of what Savannah McGowan's dealing with just about every night for Armstrong.
Right. Carly Fisher and Savannah McGowan, what I was going to say is they are 2 players you feel like could get a bucket at any time for Armstrong if they can keep it close. Foul on the floor, though, as just the 3rd team foul of the half, or 4th rather, on Spring Lake Park. Panthers enjoy a 6-point lead with 4:10 left. 2nd foul of the game on Bella Such, and that defensive rebounds all the more important the later you get into the game. Madison.
She's an offensive rebound specialist, though.
Oh, yeah. Madison,
we talked about
true.
that, Bill.
She doesn't know. You can get it on the defensive end, too. Madison Fondau returns. 4 fouls for her. I'm confident of that. 4 as well on Lauren Jones, who's out there. All the starters back in now. Jones wants a 3 from the wing and hits. Lauren Jones, the first 3 of the game for her. It's a 3-point lead, and it's a timeout for Antoine Easley. It stops the clock with 4:04 remaining. 7 points now in the game.
Oh, wow.
For Jones.
What a big shot. I mean, it was an unorthodox looking shot. Didn't look the best out of the hand, but yeah, Antoine Easley, you can potty shot it up there as long as you made it at that point. So he will take it, and Armstrong are back within 3. Again, it just felt like a game. Neither team's really gone on a huge run outside of when Carly Fisher kind of took over the game for 3 minutes. So this very much feels like where it's felt like we were going to arrive all night. 1 possession game with 4 minutes left to play. It's been a fun one.
Oh, how big a win would this be for Coach Easley and the Falcons, though, if they can get a win with Savannah McGowan being really held in check as much as she has all season. Just 4 points. Many blocks as she has points in this game.
She had 2 games all season last year where she was in single digits. Come in double digits in 9 straight, and her last 2 games have been the biggest scoring outputs of the entire season. 26 last Thursday against Osseo, and then 26 last night at Shakopee.
Nussbaum kicks to the corner. They're really spreading them out here. Trying to be patient. Such on the block. Kicks for Nussbaum, who gets by her defender. McGowan kind of just patrolling the middle. Content to almost just run the weave. Such gets a step and scores. Bella Such with a big basket. All 5 starters now in double figures for SLP, and they've got a 5-point lead. Dilly Starks misses. McGowan careful not to foul, and Such grabs the defensive rebound. Whipped ahead. Thomas wants a 3 off the mark. And now we've got a foul, and Carly Fisher picks that up. Cam Smith just a little aggressive on that one. 5-point lead for the Panthers. As you see the replay here, Smith just going for the board. Just the 5th team foul on SLP.
All 5 starters now for Spring Lake Park into double figures. Of course, that probably was going to have to be the recipe tonight, as we talked about quite a bit, with only really 6 in the real varsity rotation right now for the Panthers. They've needed everybody to step up, play heavy minutes, kept out of foul trouble for the most part, and everybody finding their moments to contribute in this game scoring-wise.
Oh, tough call there as Cam Smith picks up a foul. Elena Dilly Starks getting in the lane, getting position, and drawing the foul. Just a second on Cam Smith. 6th team foul on SLP. A little more even now. 8 for Robbinsdale Armstrong and 6 on the Panthers as Dilly Starks rolls the first one in. 3 for 3 from the charity stripe tonight.
Yeah, tough call. It looked like Dilly Starks kind of had to come off the defender to come in and receive that pass, and then after she had pulled it in, kind of backed into the defender with her feet already set. So it might have been one, might have been missed out there. We'll see if it comes into play here. Dilly Starks trying to cash in and knocks down both the free throws, some big ones.
Spreading them out again. 4 out, 1 in for Spring Lake Park. Good backdoor cut by Kesty, misses the layup. McGowan there for the rebound with inside of 2.5 minutes to go. Armstrong trailing by 3.
Fondau really is the Brad Davison clone out there. You saw her almost, like she almost thought about dropping for a charge. It kind of confused Kesty, honestly. When she received that, the defender didn't have her hands up. She started to almost lean back like she was going to take a charge, and Kesty almost was a little surprised by the flinch and missed on the shot.
Good patience on offense from both teams. Thomas comes over for the swat on Carly Fisher. Nussbaum gets it across the timeline, 1:46 and counting. A 3-point lead as Smith gets a step, and McGowan whacks her from behind. Cam Smith doing what she's done all game. That's driving the lane and getting to the foul line. McGowan's second personal, team's 9th.
Not a bad foul here. It was a tough shot. McGowan trying to get out and contest it. And Spring Lake Park haven't been super efficient from the free throw line tonight.
Well, that's certainly probably Coach Heatherton's biggest complaint, if he has any, is Smith goes 2 for 2, hits them when it counts. She's had 9 free throws in the game, and it's up to a 5-point lead for the Panthers. Lee Starks hits a cutting Jones, who misses the layup. McGowan crashes into Smith and sticks it back. Spring Lake Park fans furious at the no call. It's a 3-point lead as Smith races over the timeline.
That just looked like a battle for a rebound for me.
Yeah, that's a incidental contact. You're going to have that in a game sometimes. As Smith catches at the elbow. Spins against Fondow, draws a foul. Fondow will foul out. She can't believe it. As we take a look at this McGowan play on the other end, Jones missed the layup, and then Smith was there, and you could have called it, but play on, said the ref. They were certainly looking at it. And for McGowan, just her 3rd field goal of the game. Meanwhile, on the other end, Cam Smith draws the 5th foul of the game on Madison Fondow. So she's out, and Smith has hit 4 straight free throws, 10 of her 13 points tonight from the foul line. Leaves that one short. It's a 4-point lead as we have a minute to go here at Spring Lake Park. Carly Fisher across the timeline, screened by McGowan, and Fisher drills a huge 3-pointer. Carly Fisher up to 29 for the game. 66-65 with 44 seconds remaining. Nussbaum hands up top for Olivia Kesty. Spring Lake Park trying to just kill a little clock. Timeout taken by Coach Etherton with 37 seconds remaining. What a game we've had here tonight. We were tied at 36 at halftime. Spring Lake Park's got a 1-point lead with 36.9 seconds remaining in the game. Talked about the balanced scoring for the Panthers. Nussbaum with 16. Michaela Thomas with 11. Olivia Kesty with 12. 13 for Cam Smith and 10 for Bella Such. Those are all 5 starters for Spring Lake Park. Armstrong, meanwhile, paced by the 29 of Carly Fisher, including an incredible 6 3-pointers. 10 in the second half here to keep her team in the game. And she just drained a big 3-pointer. And now Coach Etherton is trying to draw up something in the huddle to get his team a big basket or at least a trip to the foul line. Antoine Easley doing the same in his huddle. Wonder if they're going to keep the ball in the hands of Carly Fisher or go to Savannah McGowan. Now they've got a 5-guard lineup out there, does Armstrong. Nussbaum to inbound right in front of our broadcast position. Gets the basketball back, 35 seconds remaining. Underneath for Such, goes to the right hand and scores! Bella Such, a big basket to give SLP a 3-point lead. 22 seconds remaining. Emily Fisher drives, wild layup off the mark. Such grabs the rebound, they're all over her, and they call a jump ball. Boy, that sure looked like a foul from our vantage point, but regardless, it's Spring Lake Park's basketball. The difference now is that the possession arrow goes back to Armstrong. 15.5 seconds remaining in the second half. As you see here, it sure looked like she was being grabbed and held onto by a couple different players, including Ella Cooley, the 8th grader, first time in the game for her tonight. Cooley and Fisher were seemingly all over Such, but she gets the big defensive rebound and, more importantly, possession for Spring Lake Park. Savannah McGowan set to return for Armstrong. Scoreboard says 28 for Carly Fisher, but I'm pretty sure it's 29 for her tonight. 11 meanwhile, or 13 meanwhile for Melina Dilly-Starks, right at her season average of 10.2, a little above. So a couple players in double figures for Armstrong, and as we said, all 5 starters in double figures for the Panthers, who will inbound with Nussbaum along the end line. Bounces in for Cam Smith, quickly doubled along the sideline, and a foul called on Emily Fisher. So Cam Smith with 13.1 seconds left. 2 big free throws coming up as she walks to the other end. Panthers leading by 3, and obviously one of these free throws would make it a 2-possession game. Smith coolly sinks the first. As we said, the percentage has been only in the 60s tonight for Cam Smith, but she has hit 12 free throws tonight, 18 between her and Nussbaum. 70-65 to lead, 10 seconds remaining. Carly Fisher gets the screen, kicks to the corner, 3 on the way, is in and out. Michaela Thomas snatches down the rebound, and she's fouled with 1.8 seconds to go. Foul committed by Carly Fisher, just her first, amazingly. And Michaela Thomas will shoot 2. Thomas tonight 11 points. And rattles home the first. First time tonight at the charity stripe for the guard, averaging 14.2 points, and as we said, 21 in the last 3 games. 2 for 2 on this trip. 72-65, back to a 7-point lead as time expires here at Spring Lake Park. The Panthers improved to 7-7 on the season. They even their conference record at 500 as well at 4-4. Armstrong, meanwhile, falls to 5-9 on the season and 3-5 in NWSC play. Carly Fisher, a game effort for the Falcons tonight with 29, a game high, but that was not enough as Spring Lake Park's balanced effort, 16 for Nussbaum, 13 for Thomas, 12 for Kesty and Such, and 15 for Cam Smith, leads the Spring Lake Park Panthers to a big 72-65 conference win. They outscore Armstrong by 7 in the second half. And they come away with a hard-fought 7-point conference victory here tonight at home. As we said, they're in a run of home games with 5 of the next 6 games here in Spring Lake Park. And so it was a big one to avenge the 2 losses they took in conference play to the Falcons last year. Band striking up as they are jubilant here tonight in Spring Lake Park. And the Panthers, it's really just important. They've won 4 of their last 5 now. 3 of those by double figures. And that's a big one as they hope to continue the momentum. And this balanced scoring attack has, they've really found something. As we throw it down to our colleague Matt Dean, who's standing alongside Brianna Nussbaum.
All right, and I'm Matt Dean here as we just saw Spring Lake Park finish it off. Really good contest to get the win 72-65 over Robbinsdale Armstrong. I'm here with junior guard Brianna Nussbaum, who finished with 16 points here tonight. And Brianna, first thing I wanted to ask you, are you out of breath right now? I know that you guys in the Panthers have been playing a little bit shorthanded, 6-player rotation, but you guys are playing really well the last couple of weeks. How are you guys pushing through it?
Well, we've been working through practice, hustling, and we knew that we would be down, so we just mental toughness, and we all work really well together as a team.
You are out there running the show a little bit at the guard position. You guys get double-digit contributions from everybody in the starting lineup tonight. What's it like playing out there when you guys are all kind of clicking in different periods during the game?
It's really nice because we've been playing together, our group, for a while, especially the junior class. We've grown up together since fourth grade, and all of us, we just really worked well together. We kind of know what each of us are going to do and work well with it.
All right, last thing, you guys have Elk River coming up, Totino Grace getting into kind of the conference schedule. How are you guys looking to carry the momentum from tonight and the last couple of weeks, winning 3 of the last 4?
I think it'll keep going well. Just keep pushing through and working as a team to keep the momentum going.
All right, you heard it here from Brianna Nussbaum, one of the standouts of the game. Spring Lake Park ends up taking it over Robbinsdale Armstrong, and we'll wrap it up here from the floor as the Panthers top the Falcons on North Metro TV.